What's up, Eco Hackers? C.S. Joseph doing another Confessions of an ENTP episode because, why not? And never not be random AF because that's just the ENTP way, right? Being random AF. Let me know if you guys can actually hear me. Still playing around with the sound a little bit. I promised the editor that I would use a different microphone, but I lied, and so oh well. I guess I'm too SI inferior lazy to actually change the microphone. I mean, I don't know why, but I guess it sort of happened. So, anyway, give a shout out in the chat who's here. That would be dope. I'd like to hear from you folks as we do this. Obligatory Pellegrino drink before we begin. So yeah, this stream is dedicated to all you pragmatic people out there, all you pragmatic people who, don't exactly allow yourselves to, be bullshitted by society into conforming with the rest. So I guess this is all for you nonconformists out there, because guess what, folks? TI Mother Effing Parent is just literally the nonconformist incarnate, because it's in cognitive orbit with TE Critic, which basically means no one really gives a damn when you have TI Parent, because I sure as hell don't, especially since I have this nasty habit of questioning everything, and I think that's just what's going to happen, from a mental eugenics point of view, because from a mental eugenics point of view, when the entire world knows what everyone's psyche really actually is, some psyches are going to be preferred more so than the others, and then when that happens, you can guarantee something's going to be happening, you know what I'm saying, because it's oh, can't let that TI parent be alive, because, no, society wants you to be wise. Because if you are wise, then you challenge the system, right? And it's just okay, yeah, that's totally dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, thanks, Sergeant Argybright. And Dumbledalf. Dumbledalf is in the house. One of my favorite dudes. So, yes. Why I am poor. I think I am poor because I'm a lazy ass. I think that's probably what it is. Obviously, Andre. I mean, that's definitely what it is. I'm a nonconformist lazy ass. So, I mean, we can kind of get a little bit more into that. But hey. So, yes. For the greater good. Anyway. So yeah, TI Parent Outcast. This is kind of a thing because of how roguish those ENTPs are, but ENTPs got this too, you know what I'm saying? And we just don't doing the same bullshit that everyone else is doing. For example, actually, shout out to this guy, and you know who you are when you're going to be watching this, because God knows you are going to be watching this. It's folks, I had this guy message me on Facebook Messenger, and by the way, I'm not throwing him under the bus when I say this at all. I'm not throwing him under the bus. He's a really cool dude. He's one of my favorite people. In fact, he's been here with the channel since years ago and whatnot. But the point is, totally cool dude. He messaged me and he'd be hey bro, I was on your Instagram and I saw this post. You shouldn't be putting swear words in your Instagram post. That looks unprofessional. And my pragmatic TI parent response to that was, yo, bro, even the Bible don't tell me that I can't be cussing or swearing anytime I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Because I get most people cite that one Bible verse to be all oh, yo, never let any unwholesome word leave your mouth, etc. But it doesn't say that I can't do that. And let me tell you, folks, a good FU is really wholesome sometimes, especially when it's well placed. You know what I'm saying? Kind of add emphasis or get people to pay attention when it's important. But the bottom line is, I'm just from a church Christian point of view, there ain't no biblical requirement for me to do that, in as much as there is not a biblical requirement for me to be praying before my food. You know what I'm saying? But this is just an example of my pragmatic point of view, because hey guys, a lot of those things that you read in the Bible are more recommendations or guidelines, aka words of wisdom. Not exactly something that you should be living your life on in terms of what is required. You know what I'm saying? So that's my issue. Too many times we human beings, and by the way, I'm guilty. I'm guilty when I say this. So hashtag hypocrite Chase, hypocrite Joseph, hypo Joseph, crit Joseph. Hippo Joseph? Ooh, I mean, that's probably more accurate, especially when I was like 300 pounds when I was 14. But the bottom line is, oftentimes we as human beings have no choice but to like criticize one another based on like our own core belief systems. And oftentimes we also like adopt or inherit belief systems from our parents, our families, and our culture and shit. But you know what? That's why God invented pragmatic types. And thank God for pragmatic types to challenge the system, because, and thank God half the population out there is pragmatic, because those people aren't as easily brainwashed. Now, I'm not saying that affiliated folks are easy to brainwash. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's a little bit easier to brainwash them. You know what I'm saying? But that's not saying like I mean I ain't being like mentally racist towards them. You know what I'm saying? Like, gosh, what do we call this? Is that psychist? I mean, we got sexism and we have you know, racism, but when it comes to psyche, is that psychism? Psychism? Is that a thing? Psychism? Are you psychist? Am I psychist? Anyway, so let's stop being psychist and consider the following. Hashtag, you know, Bill Nye the Science Guy. But the point is like, yo, realize that when it comes down to no, I am not Majestic Joseph. Like, come on. But yeah, brainwashing is a thing, and like, I'll be honest. Like, I got like super brainwashed. Like, I mean, I got brainwashed by Michael Matthews. No, just kidding. But anyway, yeah, I like literally read like 40 books on fitness, like over 40 of them. Invented my own system because like I couldn't deal with it, but that's another story. So anyway, I got to a point where, yeah, there are no bad students, just bad masters. You know, I became a student of my own family ideology, the ideology of my community. Like, I grew up on, like, an island in the Pacific, and this island that I'm from, it's, like, a very, you know, white community and whatnot. But honestly, like, it doesn't really so much matter as much as the, like, in terms of the community, in terms of having it, like, having, I don't know, exposure to, like, other ways of doing things. A lot of people are held to this insanely high moral standard as presented from, like, a biblical background. And, like, don't forget, folks, like, I'm a pastor's kid, too. So, and my father, he's still pastoring to this day. He's got his own church, you know, in northern Washington State. And, he's kicking ass while he's doing it, let's be honest. But at the same time, like, you know, that's just not my life. But it's so funny because, like, I was even texting my mom recently. And, like, I could probably actually, like, read the text that I sent her and whatnot. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Yo, I was texting Railgun, and I actually posted this on my Facebook and whatnot. And she's got, like, this picture of, like, getting a car wash, because she's taking my car to get, like, a car wash, like, literally right now, and then, like, I decided to go, like, randomly live and whatnot, and then she sent me that photo, and I, like, responded back to her, and I said, wow, they must pay 100 dudes to masturbate on the car all at once, you know what I'm saying? And then, she's like, LOL, WTH, hey, it's your car, so, you know. Anyway, point is, going to my mom, you know, oh, and they're, like, building some cool stuff. That's cool. But, so I texted my mom a while back, and this is just going to demonstrate, like, TI Parent Outcast. And, like, I literally told her, this is, like, sometime in August. I just randomly texted her, like, at 12:43 in the morning, right? And I tell her, I love you, Mom. I will be honest, though. I walk around every day feeling like I disappoint you. Is it true? Question mark. It's almost as if every phone call we have, you just leave cringing at me. I wish you understood me. I wish you're okay with me preferring doing the best thing instead of doing the right thing. Maybe you do, though. Maybe you are okay with me. Regardless of how you feel about me, I love you and I am grateful to you. You have given me far more than I ever have given to you, and I won't forget that. So that's what I tell my mom, right? And she responds with this really big book, you know, and that's cool. And don't get me wrong, folks. I mean, I love my mother. She's awesome, and it's true. She has given me far more than I've ever given her, you know. Which could potentially change, especially like if I'm going to be taking care of her in her old age. You know what I'm saying? Because like I think it's responsible for children to be taking care of their parents in their old age. If and when they can, even if you're on bad terms with your parents, doesn't matter. I still think that's like kind of like a responsibility and whatnot. But the point is, I got to a situation. Where it is. No, I'm not saying I was brainwashed by the Bible. Like, holy smokes. I'm not even, like, gonna go there. No, that's not what I'm saying. It is, yeah. So, yeah, but, like, I'm psychist, obviously. I mean, us ego hackers, we're all psychists, right? That's why we're here, right? Because, ENTP master race, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's INTJ master race? Oh, crap. I shouldn't be, getting in the way of the fourth kingdom, the fourth way of doing things there, because the fourth wave is the INTJs, right? You know what I'm saying? The fourth nation, right? But anyway, inflates the currency. Okay, yeah, so Raphael, like, I totally understand that you have, like, a problem with that, but, like, here's the thing, bro. It's more important to me to, like, put the hearts on all the comments so that everyone feels like I actually read them and shit and, like, actually care about them. I think that's, like, way more valuable instead of just picking out which comment is, like, oh, something that really, really means something to me. It's not about that, man. Like, would you rather, as an audience member, like, know that, like, the YouTuber is, like, actually paying attention to you individually and not just, like, just some random person that agrees with them, so that way it's, like, turning into, like, some mother effing, echo chamber and shit? Like, I don't think that's, like, totally okay. You know what I'm saying? Just, like, no. Not doing that. Like, seriously. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. So, anyway, so the point is, never not bash CSJ. The CSJ bashing will continue, don't worry. Like, one day, guys, I'm going to be doing Jeet Kune Do with, like, my master on top of paddle boards in a river while simultaneously, like, psychoanalyzing him and whatnot. It's going to be good times, but that's, like, another day. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here, because, like, I'm so, like, tangential and whatnot right now. I just had chocolate, so maybe I'm hyper. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But here's the situation. Like, well, see, Dumbledore gets it. See, Dumbledore understands me. He's good times. So, but the point is that, like, I was raised in this huge Christian, like, culture, and, like, I had, like, all these expectations on me and whatnot. But, like, I'll admit, my mother cringes at me because, like, I'm not as, quote, Christian as her. And it's just like, okay, this is just an example of my, like, TI Parent Outcast standpoint. Also, my TI Parent kind of, like, triggers her anyway because, like, she's an ISFJ, so she's, like, super affiliative and whatnot. But I'm an ENTP, which means I'm, like, super pragmatic, right? So there's already some conflict there. And it's so interesting because, like, when you're FE child, you, like, really want to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when, like, for Taylor from Flow State, he's trying really, really hard to be accepted all the time, even though he always claimed that he's not trying to be accepted anytime. But that's okay. I, like, totally accept him. I think Taylor Briggs is actually a really dope dude, It's kind of weird because I often, like people who hate my guts, but that's okay. I mean, that's just the ENTP way, right? That's TI Parent Outcast, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, wait, he's got TI Parent Outcast too, which is true. That's not to say, because Taylor, he's got some struggles too, and I'm sure he's had to deal with similar bullshit that I've had to deal with. So, one day I hope him and I can actually see each other as brothers instead of, like, potentially, like, adversaries, because I don't want to be his adversary. I actually really like the guy personally, but that's just another story. So, beyond that, with that being said, like, when you're brought up in this environment and, my SI inferior is, like, so loyal to biblical things, to Christianity, etc., to being a good altar boy, you know what I'm saying? Except, like, I wasn't actually an altar boy, but you guys understand the concept, you know what I'm saying? But here's the point, right? Marijuana, depends on what kind of marijuana it is, bro. Like, if it's sativa or indica will probably bring you more towards your shadow. Sativa will bring you more towards your subconscious and whatnot. So, no, Andre, because UFC has to follow rules, and Jeet Kune Do does not follow rules at all. So, consider that. Anyway, that being said, like, when you've been conditioned in this, Christian environment, like I grew up believing that premarital sex was a sin, and like I got super super guilty about that, which it's not a sin. Like, okay, and to all you church like people that like watch me and whatnot, I'm telling you right now, premarital sex is not a sin, and here's why it's not a sin. It's not a sin because the sexual sin really literally is. If you're not supposed to have sex with a virgin unless you're going to be committing to her, basically. Don't screw another man's wife. Okay, that's pretty basic. And the other thing is like, quite frankly, Matthew chapter 5, verse 33, let your yes be yes and your no be no. That's actually the standard of sexuality. It's whatever you agree to or not agree to. That's literally all it is. And if you're breaking an agreement, that's where the sin is, okay? Like, I mean, Jesus is supposed to be the fulfillment of the law. What am I trying to say here? The thing is that TI Parent Outcast is when you start questioning like literally everything about your own belief system and your inherited belief system and your own conditioning as a person, and it causes you to become someone who's completely divergent from society. And then as a result of this, sometimes you as an ENTP just start questioning like who you are, because it's like, okay, wow, my SI inferior, my ISFJ subconscious is telling me to behave like a good little Christian boy, you know what I'm saying? Which then I can lend myself to my ISFJ subconscious and then not challenge my own beliefs, not question anything, and then I could actually succumb further to my brainwashing because I end up becoming loyal and have Stockholm Syndrome towards my own brainwashing, towards my own conditioning as a kid, you know what I'm saying? So, like, that's a serious issue, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not even cool, So like, yeah, it's not a problem. So anyway, a man is a male person who puts his life and his purpose above everybody else, including his woman. Basically, that's what a man is. A man is a person who makes himself his own mental point of origin. So yeah, there you go. Okay, well, I mean, Andre, that's not the purpose for JKD. JKD is not for, it's literally for street fighting and nothing else, okay? So what do you want me to do, okay? Well, yeah, God did not make a species that has to marry, per se. So here's the point I'm trying to make here. TI Parent, Outcast is about critical thinking, guys. Thinking critically, okay? And ITJs do this, and ETPs do this more out of all the types. Those are the critical thinking types. The TE parents, the TI parents, very critical thinking. Although, interestingly enough, one of those is actually affiliative. The other three are pragmatic. And so it's more of so critical thinking is actually a very pragmatic thing. Although sometimes what's really great about ISTJs is that when they apply critical thinking, they see it as their moral obligation to actually apply critical thinking so that they could free themselves from the bullshit of society. For example, Henry David Thoreau, and his who is an ISTJ, and he wrote his book Civil Disobedience, and it actually explains that entirely and his entire point of view, and he sees it as his moral obligation and his duty to actually do this. You know what I'm saying? It's like a really big deal. So, no, Dia, if I'm going to put you first, then you would lose respect for me, and then I'll stop loving you, and then our relationship would fall apart. So, no, that's not going to happen. Any woman who asks me to give her all my attention, and, that's just going to distract me, and she's just this huge distraction off my purpose in life, then she's going to lose respect for me anyway, so she's going to be self-sabotaging our relationship. No, thank you. That kind of woman, it's I'll throw her ass in the dumpster where she belongs, and I'm not going to have a relationship with her. No. I'm not even going to do that. But, hey, that my Christian upbringing would have me, do that. But, I mean, this is why, I don't exactly consider myself a Christian. I consider myself, a follower of Christ's teachings, for sure. I take that very seriously, as well as Taoism and as well as Kellism, if you guys are even remotely interested in those types of things. Read Altered Carbon for Kellism. It's pretty dope, just saying. But the point is, when you're a TI parent, you're having to apply critical thinking, a lot of bad stuff happens to you, because then all of a sudden you have to start living your life in a very divergent way, divergent from the affiliative. And the affiliative is all around you, especially in Western society, because Western society is predominantly an affiliative SJ society, which is pretty bullshit. Don't worry, folks, affiliative NF societies exist. Just ask Chairman Mao and Joseph Stalin about that stuff. I'm sure you'd totally like that, you know what I'm saying? Gosh, you NFs are just so funny to me. So like the point is, like there's really like no point about that. Like, it's just, you don't want to have, your life being, you don't want to give over. Oh, 1 second, Railgun's calling me. Yes, hello, we're live. Yeah, I'll look at your text. Cool. Bye. All right. Nice. Okay. Yeah, chill. Okay. No. Okay, that's not true, Neptune, because if that was the case, like, you have to understand that concubines were allowed, having additional wives were allowed back in the days, and, like, monogamy is actually something very new and closer more towards the Dark Ages and whatnot, and it's also as a result of Malthusian influence deployed through the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church is super pagan AF, and, like, I could cite all of that through Frank Viola's work, Viola, so you might want to verify that. He wrote the book Pagan Christianity, and you might want to check that out. I also recommend you read Christopher Ryan's work, Sex at Dawn, which also explains furthermore how monogamy is actually more of a new idea, just like the nuclear family is a new idea, and that's not how it's actually been traditionally throughout the history of the human race. I recommend you check that out too. And it's a very fascinating anthropological study. Please apply critical thinking to your beliefs instead of telling me how I need to be living my life based on your beliefs and projecting your beliefs while simultaneously believing your beliefs are the accurate, best belief system, when the reality situation is that's not necessarily the case. Of course, that's my experience with a lot of people, especially in the church. And because of that, I've been an outcast. I've been kicked out of my family. I've been kicked out of my community. I've been kicked out of my church. I've had all of my opportunities taken away from me. I've had people conspire to destroy my intimate relationships specifically because I didn't agree with their belief system. In fact, that actually happened to me like heavily with my ENFJ ex-girlfriend and I, who were together for 4 years, and her family tried to sabotage our relationship on a consistent basis because they couldn't accept that I was utilizing critical thinking, hashtag TI Parent Outcast, to actually deal with that situation. And it's just like, no, like, not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, there's just not much I can do. You know what I'm saying? So, are nuclear families a good way to have family? Yeah, sure they are. Nuclear families are cool. Nuclear families actually help with children and whatnot. That's cool. I mean, this is statistically proven. Nuclear families can be healthy, but non-nuclear families can be healthy as well. Although if you were to have a nuclear family, at least have like your parents in the house too, so you have additional helpers to like help with the children if you're raising children and whatnot. Plus the children gain additional benefits from all the cognition from different people instead of only being used to the cognition of the two adults in their life, their mother and father and whatnot. But then again, like, it could be, things. Oh, I made myself look like an ass with Railgun. Railgun knows I'm live right now, and Railgun knows that when I'm live, she probably shouldn't, call me on the phone. So as much as you think I'm an ass, okay, that's fine. But, like, this is my marriage and this is my life, and I really don't care what you think about that. I'm just going to live my life the way I want to live it. And if that means I look like an ass, that's okay. Everyone thinks I look like an ass. Like, literally everybody thinks I look like an ass. I mean, what am I supposed to do? You all just going to label me an ass anyway, so, damned if I do, damned if I don't. So if I'm going to do the time, I may as well do the crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, don't be all judgy. You don't see me judging you folks. Like, I'm here to help you guys, but just telling you the truth. Just because you disagree, that ain't my thing. Yo, like, let's not be spamming the chat here. Like, seriously. Don't be spamming the chat. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway. Cool. So, yeah, the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that when it comes to, TI parents, we're very outcast-oriented people. And, as a result of that, Andre, don't even go there. Like, you may think that's a joke, but, like, I'll put you in timeout for that. No thanks. Okay, thanks, Samantha. Maybe you were just joking. It's all good. Okay, you imagine that? Okay, that's, okay, yeah, whatever. It happens. We'll take 1,000 L's before we get our win. Thanks, Isaac. Fair enough. Well, I mean, talking with famous people, he is welcome to come in here and troll. It's all good. let them troll. It's all good, you know. And you're right. It is not my responsibility to give a good experience. That's right. It's fine, you know. Yeah, exactly, Simon. Yeah, Simon Wright. Simon Wright. By the way, shout out to Simon Wright. He's like my bro. He's like the dopest. He's some guy in the live chat right now. Simon Wright like is a fantastic guy. Like I applied some critical thinking in his life. I challenged him publicly and whatnot. He took it like a man. He took it with stride. He even took responsibility for his actions, and it was so impressive. Like, this guy is like a serious example to the CSJ community, guys. I mean, I love Simon Wright. He's like one of my favorite people in the entire community. So, it's awesome. It's pretty dope. Okay, so we got Deanna Hunt. She says, "No, you didn't look like an ass to me. I'm like that on the phone, and I'm an ESFJ." And my INTJ would say, "I don't care what anyone thinks either." Okay, fair enough. It's all good. Yeah, it's great to listen, but bad to impose. I mean, yeah, sure, it's all good. I'm not gonna debate talking with famous people. No, like, there's no value there. No value. I'm definitely trying to listen to Chase. Okay, well, okay, fair enough. Popcorn emailed. I've had popcorn emailed to me before. It is a thing. It's the Talking with Famous People community and not host Eric. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe one day Eric and I can actually have lunch together. I'd like that. He'd probably tell me I'm dumb as a box of rocks, but at least I'd be able to enjoy a coffee and get a nice caffeine high while he's telling me I'm a box of rocks. It's okay. I could take it. You know. I'm probably not going to light up with him, let's be honest, but it's all good. No, I'm not going to rip Talking with Famous People apart. No way. No, I'm not going to do that. Like, why? Why would I do that to him? There's no point. That INTJ from Love Who? Who? I don't know who that is. How did this conversation turn into this? A confessions... Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get back on topic here, okay? Let's get back on topic. So, we've established an example of TI Parent Outcast. I had this belief system foisted upon me by my family, my church, my community, and whatnot. I started reading all the scriptures and applying critical thinking, hashtag TI Parent Outcast, and I became an outcast. I became a serious outcast. Kicked out of my family, church, community, etc. to a point. And even with like my own sister in my face, or family members in my face, even like the spouse of my cousin doesn't like me because I've set a dangerous precedent because I'm one of the only grandchildren that actually got a divorce, and she's judging me for that, and she thinks I'm setting a dangerous precedent for my other cousins and them getting a divorce, as the men at least, even though she's very, okay with looking at the girl cousins in our family who have been divorced multiple times, but apparently, because I'm a guy, because I'm a man, I have to be held to a higher standard for some reason, right? Gosh, isn't that sexist? Don't you think that's sexist? Maybe it's psychist, right? We're psychists, right? We're psychists. I'm very psychist here, so. But yeah, what type is Robert Pattinson? I think he's an ESTJ, actually. I think he's an ESTJ. Although, while I am saying Robert Pattinson is an ESTJ, I don't know for sure, but that I'm parroting what my INFJ mentor said. So, we already did Confessions of FI Trickster. That was in a previous video. Come on. Let's be honest. Every NT is an outcast. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think ENTJs are not an outcast. I really don't think so. I think ENTJs are amazing. ENTJs, while they are the second most alpha of the types, ENTJs can also become the feminine ideal in terms of the feminine sexual strategy the best. They provide all the alpha traits and the beta traits within one person, most of all. And that's why women consistently are attracted to ENTJs. While they're technically more attracted to ESTPs, they get with ESTPs to find that ESTPs are broke, so then they end up going for the ENTJs because it's the next best thing. But then they realize that the ENTJ literally has it all the alpha traits and the beta traits in one person, and they're super happy with that, and they're not going to let go of that ENTJ as long as they can go. You know what I'm saying? So, Well, I mean, divorce is completely unnecessary, though, Josh. Like, seriously, it's completely unnecessary. There's no reason to really get divorced. If you actually, like, understand, from a critical thinking standpoint, where divorce comes from. I mean, divorce really is only necessary in a monogamous society. And if we're going to imagine, therefore, that, like, we're all going to heaven or we're all going to live forever one day, is it really possible to have, like, an eternal paradise system where you are with the same person for eternity, that one person? That's not sustainable. That's not accurate. There's no way that could be true. And that's just another example that there's no such thing as soulmates. There's no such thing as the one. There is no such thing. That's not even a thing. That's not real. It's just delusions, right? And just like these delusions that my, no, Gordon Ramsay's an ENTJ. No. Gordon Ramsay's the man. Come on. No, he's not an ENTP chef. No. If you want to have a good example of an ENTP chef, watch Words on Bathroom Walls. It's like this awesome movie in theaters right now. So yeah. All right. Apparently, Running Fox and Anthrax are having some good times right now. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's like Iron Rule of Tomasi, number 7. Yes, marriage can be eternal. I'm not saying it's not, but, like, marriage is different in heaven than it is here on earth. Marriage is different for the angels. Like, Jesus said that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta apply. No, I did not join Antifa. Like, what? Why are people saying that? I don't get that. So I'm fairly certain my heaven includes a substantial harem. Okay. Well, fair enough. Thank you, Dumbledore. So I maintain Rolo Tomasi's an INTJ. Yeah. Legal stuff just shoves those. Yeah, that's true. So that's another thing. When you're like TI Parent Outcast, guys, like you are like at severe legal risk if you, as pragmatic as you are just living your life. You know what I'm saying? Like you have, you just gotta live your life, and if you live your life, the way you want, like society's not exactly going to, reward that in a lot of things because it will consider some things are like totally, hold on. She talks to me, she's trying to get like a lunchbox because she like got a job and is a new job and is working and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, Josh. That's just weird, Is Black Lives Matters an evil, radical organization? I don't know. I think George Soros is evil, though. Does that count? Like, what does that mean? Okay. I'm sure Anthony Spade is dope. Are SE women's attracted to INTPs because they're feminine? No. SE women's are attracted to INTPs because they exhibit dark triad traits, actually. That's another thing. Can an ESTP be as outcast since they have TI Parent 2? Yes, Amar28. Yes, the answer is yes. Yes, they can. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, ETPs, they all struggle with this. They have this critical thinking going around with their TE critic, and then combined with their TI Parent, it's just like, yeah, they're so countercultural to how culture should be. Although there is more room for ESTPs than there is ENTPs within American society, at least. So they're gonna have a lot of problems. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like not my thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Look it up, Brownie003. Like I really don't know. Well, there are situations where an individual is wrong and the group is right, but you still have the risk of having a kangaroo court anyway. So, like, is it true that people are tried by their actual peers? No, they're not, because they're not their actual peers. It's what they, like, it's just, no. So, yeah, dark triad traits, that's what I was talking about, yeah. How crazy, you caught a light. Well, thanks for coming, Melissa. We appreciate you're here. Anyway, folks, I don't think there's really much left for me to say. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you got TI Parent, you're going to be screwed by society. And it kind of just doesn't matter, you know, where you're going to be. So I guess, like, if you're an ESTP, you're going to want to be an SP society, or at least you can be accepted in an SJ society. If you're an ENTP, well, then you're just going to have to go to Japan, because, like, that's like an NJ society. Or Norway. Dario Nardi said ENTPs can totally make it in Norway. And I believe him. I believe Dario. Dario's a good dude. We're becoming friends. I love Dario. We were on the phone for like 3.5 hours one night, or maybe it was 3 hours. I don't know. It was a long ass time, and we were having some fun and discussing like totally radical dope stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty fantastic. So yeah. So hello from Italy. Yes. Is it worth avoiding being an outcast? No, it's not, Levi. Like, no, it's not. It's better to be an outcast every time. Like, check out Charles Bukowski and, like, check out his work. He explains how important it is to be an outcast. Like, seriously. Like, it's a big deal. I do have a crush on Dario. Yeah, definitely, I guess. I mean, he is an INTJ. What do you expect, right? So, yeah, I mean, Norse mythology is very NT. It's very hijinks. It's very ENTP. So, like, naturally, they'd be super accepted in Norway. And that's actually Dario Nardi's argument, right? So, having TI Parent, you wouldn't be so much of an outcast being in Norway, and you wouldn't be as much of an outcast in Japan either, especially because of Kaizen, which is all about, you know, Japan's need for continuous improvement, and TI Parent is all about being nitpicky, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a thing. Maybe one day, Dia, one day. When you describe it the way you do, it just makes me depressed. Yo, FJBZ3, bro, you've got to unpack that for me. Like, why does that make you depressed? Like, seriously, unpack that. I need to know. I really need to know that information. So, yeah. I am so cool because I have no friends and no social group. Okay, well, if that's the case, Raphael, just make your own friends and your own social group. It's not that hard, you know? Like, is Finland good for introverts? Seems everyone wants to be unique and an outcast to a special. Why don't we try to be like everyone else? I don't know. I just realized that after not being accepted, like, for the majority of my life, it's probably better. Yeah, I understand that being a gaijin is a problem, but the thing is, there's always something alluring by gaijin. So, you know, and if you're already not accepted in the United States of America, you're more likely to be accepted in Japan. So you might want to consider that. Just go out there and explore. Like, what's the problem with exploring and shit? Like, seriously, what's wrong with that? You know, come on. Like, seriously, come on. Okay. Yeah. You're never going to fit in, so you might as well stand out. Exactly. Thank you. Vero. Vero knows what they're talking about. That's exactly like the lesson of this live stream right there. You know? Yeah, you could replay live videos. It's all good. Just hit refresh when it's all over. It's all good, Melissa. No, Portugal is land for ISFJs? Really? Is that an INSFJ? I don't know. I mean, Raphael, you should ask Napoleon about that. He was rejected by society. You want to see how good it went for him, you know what I'm saying? You know. You say a woman shouldn't ask. I never said that a woman shouldn't ask for his well, okay. If it's all of his attention, yeah, that's like a bad idea. Like, you can't, it's not so much asking as much as expecting. A woman cannot expect to get all of her man's attention, because if she does and he starts to like worship her, she'll lose respect for him, which will cause him to not love her anymore, which then there goes the relationship. It's disrespectful. They can't do that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to learn more about that, watch season 4 playlist on this YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Check that out. All right, so we got FJBZ3. He's back in the house at CS Joseph. So what I'm talking about is how you describe it being very hard, or at least skewed against men in Western society. Yeah, well, of course it is. It's more skewed against women in Eastern society. So, like, it just depends where you live. This is reality. I mean, what do you want me to do? Now we want you to explain what is dark triad traits. Look it up, bro. Just look up dark triad. And statistically, dark triad traits are more attractive to women. It's a thing. I'm not saying to actually be these things. I'm just saying that in terms of attraction, right? It's just what it is. Okay, I'm always depressed about not fitting in. I mean, I'll admit, sometimes I get depressed about not being fitting in either, but I recognize that fitting in is actually more closer to weakness than it is strength. So I already stand out just by being who I am, so why not continue to stand out anyway if I get a lot of benefits for it, So why not do that? So yeah. Okay. Traditional, community focused, Portugal, ISFJs everywhere. All right, I'll check. I'll consider that, Luis. I'll definitely consider that. Maybe I'll come and visit. Hopefully the food is good. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll visit. Cool. All right. Looks like. So apparently, hold on. We got something interesting here. Businessman in Dubai. Awesome. I don't care about PUA. I don't really care, Dia. That makes zero sense. I could give a shit about that. So basically, it makes me concerned that I'm never going to end up finding a meaningful relationship in the society I live in like I always wanted. That's not true. Like, seriously, no. That's not true. You need to get in our men's group, bro. Okay, come on. Ooh, Jared Vaughn. 60% of university students are women, yet men get discriminated with scholarships. That's a good point. That's a thing. That's a thing. Are you in the dark triad yourself? I mean, okay, Tom Jickelson. There are entire threads devoted to CSJ being a psychopath or a sociopath or Machiavellian on Reddit. I highly recommend. In fact, it includes DSM-5 criteria as everything, and these people maintain that I have dark triad traits as well. So. I mean, if these people on Reddit say it must be true, you know what I'm saying? So go check those threads out, man. Bathe and bask yourself in the baptism of all the CSJ hate, you know what I'm saying? Go for it. How about instead of saying, like, you know what I'm saying, after, like, every sentence, I could just say date de bio, and then I could be, like, pretend to, like, I could just be, like, cosplaying to be, like, Naruto right now, you know? Wouldn't that be great? Like... Okay, who cares about fitting in? INFJ version of not fitting in is being labeled as arrogant even after they shed their FI child God complex. It's so obnoxious. Yeah, well, then get away from those people, Duggo. Seriously. Okay, so Chase, besides the science, is there something else that you learned that completely changed you? Yeah, like... some fitness stuff. This book, actually. This book right here, it's like the best book I ever read. And like, if you follow the principles of this book, you'll never go hungry again. That's just an example of something that's changed my life, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I am a regular ENTP. Thanks. Alright. How does someone live without the education system outside of the USA? You go to the library and you read books. That's what you do. Cool. Yeah, is there a balance of fitting in and still being sincere? Yeah, sure. I'm sure there is. Alright. Alright, I guess I'm misguided. Thank you, Dia, for... I mean, if you would like to explain in the class why I'm misguided, I'd appreciate that. I do have SE demon traits. I do. In fact, I was emptying out my freezer today, and I was putting all of this frozen food into like a laundry hamper, and my hands got really, really cold. So then I proceeded to chase my cat around the house just so I could pick her up and like make her cold too, because I wanted to share that experience with her. You know what I'm saying? No, yeah, that's funny. Love is war, but no, I'm not going to do that. Yes, books are your friend. I've been told by a few people they thought I was arrogant before they got to know me. It's torture for my SI and I don't know how to endure it. Well, stop trying to keep people around by performing for them. And that's all you have to do, you know? What do you think of Think and Grow Rich? Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is an absolute fantastic book. Especially when you talk about like that, where he's trying to explain to you that thoughts are things, and because thoughts are things, they have value, which you can apply money to as well. And he's absolutely right about that. However, in order for you to get the most out of Think and Grow Rich, you need to read book 2, which is Outwitting the Devil, which is a book on failure. And you also need to run all of that through Robert Greene's book, Mastery. It is absolutely important that you read those 3 books together so that you have a better understanding of what's actually being said. Lev, I would be happy if you would correct me wrong with that, but I believe that's in the book of Exodus, chapter 21, specifically. Yeah. But if I am wrong there, I am happy to be corrected. I am very happy to be corrected by anyone, so please correct me. Do you believe that education should be changed according to MBTI in terms of exams and assignments? No, I think education should be completely abandoned and, destroyed and then recreated in some other way. Sure. Okay. All right, Antarctica Bear. So if books are for low IQ people, I guess that makes sense because I have an IQ of 108 the last time I took the IQ test. So... okay, sure. Books are for low IQ people, I guess. I guess that does describe me, huh? Obviously you have certain unverified opinions based on bad experiences. Like what, Dia? Like, let me have it right now. Let me have it. I mean, the thing is that I wonder if you're even aware of the possibility that I might have had repeat bad experiences with other people that I don't even talk about, and then I'm able to compare and contrast over a wide array of hundreds of people that I keep track of, healthy or not, on a daily basis. So, Jade, so Eve is your favorite Bible character? Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, she went to the serpent and got, that alpha seed, and then she went to Adam and got that beta need. And that's why Eve got 2 curses from God in the garden, and Adam only got 1. You might want to think about that. Are you sure Eve is your favorite Bible character? You know what I'm saying? Are you sure? Okay. Why do I agree with you more than any other INTP I've met? I'm not an INTP. I'll talk about the Enneagram in the future, but I'm not going to say much now. It's all good. Yeah. Is 108 IQ a low IQ? I guess it is. Have a good one. Yeah, alright, see you later, Master Exploder. It's all good. How can I calm an ENTP down when he thinks he's being attacked and he is overreacting? Who are you to decide if he's overreacting or not, right? I mean, I'm a hypocrite when I say that, by the way. I don't want to be Aristotle. I don't like Aristotle. Well, what if I was being sarcastic about the IQ? All I'm saying, Mr. Joseph, that you're using only your own experiences to make these deductions, hence lacks accuracy. Look, I've coached thousands of people in my life. It's not about me or my own experiences. So I don't understand what your problem is. If you don't like it, then you could leave. I mean, you don't have to be in this community. You don't have to watch me, and you don't have to, you don't have to participate. So if you don't like that, there's not much I could do about it. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't care if someone wants to debate me. Like, I'm not their slave, so whatever. I mean, I don't care if people believe me or not. I don't care about the size of the audience. I don't care about any of these things. If you guys want to listen to me, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine. Get out. I'm perfectly cool with that. Like, if you disagree with me, that's cool. I mean, prove me wrong or get out. Like, there's not much I could say, Okay. Okay, Brody Ultra, there was no apple. The forbidden fruit was sexual intercourse, okay? Yes, Lev, which is primarily what a lot of the marriage laws of the day was actually about, Lev. That's what Exodus 21 was, because women were property in those days, okay? Literally property. That's the only reason you have things like thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, because that was about violating his property. Or thou shalt not commit adultery. That's about violating you, the property, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand the context with which they're talking about in those days compared to now, right? You can't judge, the Torah based on today's standards, because the rules in the Torah apply to those days, basically, right? That's why, Jesus came to fulfill the law, because it was basically an update of like the current things, Much appreciated, Dia. All right. Okay. Yeah, it does change everything. That's just, there was no apple. No, there's not an apple. The forbidden fruit is sexuality, guys. Seriously. Adam and Eve were supposed to be studying under the tree of life to understand how to become real humans and whatnot. But then, all of a sudden, Eve, she gets her alpha seed from the serpent. The serpent impregnated her with Cain. And then she's like, oh, crap. Now I'm not a virgin anymore. Oh, crap. See, not even Adam got to take Eve's virginity. And then she's like, oh, I'm not a virgin anymore. Oh, I'm in my fallen state. Well, what if God makes a new woman for Adam? And I'm quoting Paradise Lost when I say this. John Milton, read that shit. And it's like, oh, what if God makes Adam a new wife? I can't stand the thought of another woman making Adam more happy than me. So then she goes and seduces him, and he has sex with her, and she gets impregnated with Abel. Like, literally right there. And then Adam only received one curse, and Eve received two, because Eve was being hypergamous. Okay? That's reality, guys. Hypergamy goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden. That's just how it is. Come on. Yes, it's a symbolic metaphor for the forbidden fruit. Don't believe me? You can check out all the studies that are backed by Strong's Concordance, Strong's Dictionary, the original Hebrew, and the original Greek, and verified through BlueLetterBible.com. All this is available at World Events and theBible.com. Check out that source and read those studies. And if you still think I'm crazy, well, then fine. But most of you probably don't really care about all this anyway, but you can go check it out. I know the author there, Brandon Ward, fantastic fellow, used to be my coworker, and I didn't even know. And then I found out, I was like, dang, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. So yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. No, Gustavo. That's the 2001 A Space Odyssey interpretation. The serpent's argument that you're going to be like God means that you have the ability to procreate, and that's also the serpent being mad at God because God procreated and had Jesus, the Son of God, and he's getting all jealous that Jesus was given everything when Lucifer was there ahead of time the whole time, and it's like, hey, I've been here a lot longer than the Son. Why does the Son get all of your inheritance? Why does the Son get everything? I've worked my ass off to be number one of the angels, so why are you giving it to that guy? He hasn't been around here this entire time. You see what I'm saying? And he got entitled, there's some entitlement there. Has nothing to do with that, I care about accurate teaching. I care about facts, Raphael. That's what I care about. So, who are the true alphas of the MBTI top 5? Top 5? Shoot. Oh gosh, top 5 alphas. Number 1 is the ESTP. Number 2 is the INTJ. ENTJ. Number 3 is the ISTP. Number 4 is the INTJ. Number 5 is, gosh, which one is it? Number 5. It's a toss-up. It's really a toss-up between ISFP, ENTP, and ENFJ. I'd say ENTP is probably a little bit more alpha than those two, but I've seen so many more higher alpha ENFJs in my life than ENTP, so I'm not really sure what the 5th slot is. I'd have to do more research on that. So yeah, it's a thing, The Bible does not condemn homosexuality. Who's been teaching that? Seriously, who's teaching it? The actual, No, that's not really how it works. Like, there's so many arguments and so much research out there to do that, and especially when you're talking about like the New Testament, the Bible does not call out homosexuality. It's a mistranslation. The actual word that is used is arsenokotoai, which means men who share many beds. So I would easily question that homosexuality is not a sin, especially since Jesus himself never mentioned it. Okay? So, like, I think that people have a lot more freedom biblically than they realize, and of course, a lot of people out there who are hardcore Christians say, "Oh, that's not true." But I'm like, I'm sorry, look it up. The word porneia, which is translated to sexual immorality in the New Testament, is an extremely loose translation. Even John MacArthur said that it was extremely reaching and not exactly something that could be 100% accurate to the original translation. And he's also citing cultural differences. Cultural differences in the times of Corinth, over the next 100 years past Jesus' death, burial, resurrection, and then even before then and whatnot. And then you compare it to the values of today, it's not the same thing. And over time, it's not the same thing. And especially got really disparaged at the Nicene Creed when Constantine took over the church and birthed the Catholic Church. An abomination, by the way. No. Well, yes. I mean, it's not that slavery is yes. It's more of like the Bible is giving humanity the freedom to decide for themselves. I personally don't agree with slavery whatsoever. But the first form of slavery that ever existed was like in the times of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, women were literally nothing more than property. Now, they could own property, but they were treated like property, and that was technically like the first form of slavery, actually. So females were enslaved, based on those standards. So it's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up. Yeah, the church dogma is terrible. It's terrible. So yeah. Again, JITL, First Romans and First Corinthians. Look, a lot of it's either mistranslation or the Apostle Paul cannot always be considered the Word of God because the Apostle Paul is more of words of wisdom. It's like guidelines. It's not like the Word of God per se. Like even the Apostle Paul himself has admitted this. It is he speaking and not the Spirit of God speaking. So you have to really take what the Apostle Paul says with a grain of salt. He even went so far as to say women shouldn't even speak in church. Are you following that? He also said that women shouldn't be part of church leadership. Are you following that? See, there's some contradictions there with Paul. So I have no choice but to kind of like put Paul on the side a little bit and be like, hey, that guy, while he says a lot of good stuff and a lot of it, as long as it matches with the words of Jesus, I'm cool with it. But if it doesn't match, it's open to interpretation. # the jury is still out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyway, yeah, and Stefan, like Leviticus and whatnot. In terms of Leviticus, a lot of the Levitical laws is for keeping people clean because they didn't know about sexually transmitted diseases. They didn't know about the need to wash their hands. The only time people would wash themselves is to consecrate themselves before they had anything to do with the temple or dealing with priests or anything like that. Or at least women would do the mikveh, which was they'd wash themselves after menstruating, etc. Again, a lot of the Levitical laws were specifically placed because people were uneducated in those days about personal hygiene. And in fact, it was only a few hundred years ago that we learned the value of washing hands. And it was discovered by a doctor who was literally killing women who were giving birth because he'd do birth to birth to birth to birth and never actually wash his hands because they didn't understand like microbes and whatnot. It's an issue, So no. How did this turn into a biblical discussion? It's kind of interesting. So, yeah, well, I know I sound like a know-it-all, but I've been through so much in life that I just pay attention. And yes, Josh is correct. Any type can be alpha as long as they have the frame and true power to control their own destiny, bound to no thing or person. And no, you're not wrong, Josh. Thank you for your post. I don't know what you're saying there. Star Wars fan trying to justify why the sequel trilogy isn't canon. Oh my gosh. It is Sunday after all, Melissa. So yeah. Yes, the Apostle Paul is an ENTJ. So yeah, a lot of those Levitical laws were not even enforced, especially ones concerning adultery. Alright, cool. Any type can become a massive liar. Come on. Like, any type can. Yes, I'm very aware of the different approach in the story in Islam. The problem I have with Islam is that Muhammad even claimed that the Gospels were previous canon to the Quran, which is a direct contradiction to a lot of things that Muhammad said. So I really have a hard time with Islam based on that. I mean, like, take Judaism, for example. Judaism never outlaws premarital sex, yet all of a sudden the Christian church, at least after the Catholic Church took over, and the Malthusians who ran the Catholic Church post-Constantine, they start saying that premarital sex is a sin, but then it was never outlawed by the Torah and is still allowed in Judaism, for example, and yet did God change his mind in the New Testament? That's another contradiction. So, like, there's tons of contradictions. You guys have to be aware of these contradictions and consider them before, like, applying any kind of scripture or religious text as a code of ethics or a code of morals for you to live your life with. Like, seriously, challenge and question everything. That's all I'm saying here. Just take the time to question everything and stop allowing other human beings who are so devoted to their belief system to get in the way of your life and telling you how to live your life. Take the time to actually research this stuff and figure it out for yourselves and live your life based on what you have discovered yourself. It's not about, like, accepting what everyone else tells you, because if you live your life that way, you're going to get completely screwed. So don't do that. That's why TI Parent is important. TI Child is important. So yeah. All right, we got Valentina Belovsky in the house. JD from Heathers is an ENTP, and James Dean is an ENFP. I don't know. I really don't know. Monday in South Africa. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jawad. I really appreciate, or Jawadi. Thank you for that. So yeah, question everything. So INTPs are not the most feminine. That's ISFJs, actually. Yeah, that's correct, Melissa Mountain. It's the Council of Nicaea, the Nicene Creed, as well as the Council of Trent. That's the biggest problem. While that is true, Tommy, Muhammad did claim that it was part of the original canon. So, I haven't watched Brave New World. Okay. Okay, what's my take on spirituality? I'm a very spiritual person. I think spirituality is a big deal. If you want to learn more about that, watch season 17. The entire season 17, especially like the way of the human being, where it kind of talks about my approach to spirituality. You should probably check that out if you really care about that. But yeah, okay. Runaway TV, I'm going to have to defer to Dario Nardi on that. I'm actually learning about that from him right now. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm actually going to be bringing him on the channel specifically to discuss his knowledge of societal typings and whatnot, because he is far better at it than I am. I was extremely impressed by his knowledge of that. It was exquisite, so... So yeah. FJBZ3, you bring up a good point. I'll consider that for sure. Lucas Martinez, I don't know anything about that. I don't. Why would anyone ask that question? All right, so FT, you basically have to put in a message to the C.S. Joseph Facebook page and request it. And you have to go through a vetting process for you to qualify to get into the men's group. Intuitive types are less religious. I mean, Jared, I got a question. I got to question that just slightly. You might be right, but I have noted NFs are potentially just as spiritual than, say, maybe religious, but I think it kind of counts enough. But then again, there's less NFs than SJs, so maybe that's skewed. I'm not sure. So just throwing it out there. Jamaji, I just be careful of FI child God complex. Otherwise, just keep going. Just don't give up. Okay. That's an interesting point, Mr. Marvond. Yeah, this is like not a Q&A session, so yeah. Okay, well, I've never gone to a Talking with Famous People stream ever, so I don't know what your issue is, Raphael. I mean, I can't help you, bro. I don't know. I literally don't know. Yeah, thanks, Dumbledore. Yeah, that's exactly my experience as well, on that. So, yeah, the stream's dying down, guys. I think it's time to just kind of call it quits. I think I answered people's questions, and then we just kind of went on like a spirituality tangent here for some reason. So, anyway, folks, if you haven't already, check out our Facebook group. Please, facebook.com/CS Joseph Life. And hit the like, follow us, whatnot. Join our public group. We have like some insanely good type discussions going on like all the time. Check us out on Facebook, guys. It's fantastic. We're rolling out a new website here pretty soon, and it'll be pretty. Thank you, Drew, and thank you for telling the truth, Drew. And awesome. Anyway, folks, I'll see y'all later. And thanks for being members of this audience. I love you all, and that's you folks are why I do this. Even the people who hate my guts, I love them anyway. So, have a good night.